Well, 6 centuries after, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, angels, demons, men, women, Jews, Gentiles, united in a chorus of affirmation, Muhammad received a revelation. Surah 6, verse 101, "Wonderful originator of the heavens and the earth, how could he have a son when he has no wife?" So Allah can't have a son because he has no wife. Once again, some alarms should be going off. Alarm! Readers of the Quran will recall that Mary raised the same objection when Gabriel informed her that she would have a son. She said, "How can I have a son when no man has touched me?" Allah replied, "It's easy for me." So it's easy for Allah to make a son without 2 parents, without any sort of sexual encounter. But by the time we get to Surah 6, revealed just a little later, it's suddenly impossible for Allah to have a son without having sex. How could he have a son when he has no wife? Apart from this, the author of the Quran simply has no clue what Christians mean when we call Jesus the Son of God. The phrase Son of God has a variety of meanings in the Bible, some of which can be applied to others besides Jesus, and some of which apply uniquely to Jesus. But the one thing the phrase Son of God never means is that God had sex and produced an offspring. And yet, according to the Quran, that's the only thing the phrase can possibly mean.
He said that in the Quran, we read that God cannot have a son because he has no wife. But what he's missing is that the Quran is rejecting many different ways of speaking of Jesus as the Son of God. The Quran is saying God does not have a son, like the ways in which people have thought that God would have a wife and have a son through that wife. God does not even adopt a son. Ittakhadha is the Arabic word which means adoption. Lam yattakhidh waladan, he does not adopt a son. And it even says, Lam yakun lahu walad, he does not have a son, simply put. So from the Quranic perspective, God has no son. Now what's the problem with declaring that Jesus is the Son of God is that some people may actually think that there is a feminine aspect to the deity, and somehow the 2 of them, male and female, produce a third, which is the Son. In fact, Margaret Barker, in her book Christmas, the Original Story, has pointed to an early belief among some Christians that the Holy Spirit was feminine, and somehow that there is a feminine aspect to deity in heaven. And some of this seems to be reflected in the book of Revelation, where there is a woman in heaven who gives birth to a child. So to avoid all of these complications and possible theological incorrectness, the Quran just teaches Muslims simply, don't say that God has a son, go back to the original way, which is in the Old Testament, where there is no son for God.
Now, Shabir says that the problem with calling Jesus a son is that it implies some feminine aspect or something, but I'd say the Quran is certainly inconsistent here. Chapter 13, verse 39 of the Quran, and chapter 43, verses 3 through 4, refer to the mother of the book. So there's the book, and then there's the mother of the book, which is with Allah, in Allah's presence. So if this sort of language is problematic, and Allah has a mother of the book with him, imagine, you Muslims out there, imagine if someone claimed to be speaking for God and came to you and said, "I'm going to refute your doctrine. You see, Islam teaches that there's a mother of the book, and of course, who's the father then? Well, the father must be Allah because it's the word of Allah. Therefore, Allah has sex with the mother of the book and produces the Quran as an offspring. You see how silly this is?" Well, you would reject that. You would say, that's not what we mean. I would agree with you, but that's what the author of the Quran sounds like he's saying. He responds to our doctrines and doesn't seem to understand.
Yeah, so David, that's very interesting. David is saying the Quran refers to the mother of the book, al-Kitab, and that must somehow leave open the possibility for somebody to misconstrue this, although he recognizes nobody does. And nobody does, David, because in Arabic we use like mother of the cities and so on. So it doesn't lead anywhere. I think you're barking up the wrong tree there. It's a sign of desperation.
Wonderful originator of the heavens and the earth, how could he have a son when he has no wife? How could he have a son when he has no wife? How could he have a son when he has no wife?
I think you're barking up the wrong tree there. It's a sign of desperation.
Some alarms should be going off. Some alarms should be going off.
بديع السماوات والأرض أنى يكون له ولد ولم تكن له صاحبة وخلق كل شيء وهو بكل شيء عليم.
Here we come, Allah, here we come to serve you. Here we come, Allah, here we come.